Yow! Metal Mouth Media here with Liam of Cancer Bats.
What's up?
Liam, I have to say you're the first person I've ever interviewed all the way back in 2010 at the Pavilion. And,
amazing.
Yeah.
Look at us now.
Yes.
13 years later.
Yeah.
Lucky number 13.
And
We're
thank
hanging
you for
out.
always taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, no.
Last
thank
time
you.
was still a long time ago. It was like 10 years ago. You were playing at the Marquee with 3 Inches of Blood.
Yeah.
And so
Hell
it's
yeah.
been a long time since we actually chatted. So I'd
Legendary.
like to go back a bit to catch up. You had a side project called Axe Wound.
Oh, yeah.
How did that come to be? Is there any other chance of having an album? Another album?
So originally we had toured a bunch with Bullet from a Valentine, had become friends with Matt we toured like all over the place. Like we did all of North America together. We've toured Australia, Japan, yeah, like England, Europe. We've done a lot of touring and became like pals with all those dudes. And then when Matt and I feel awful. I'm like blanking on his name.
Happens to the best of us.
No, this is like a brutal moment where I'm like the drummer of Axe Wound. Jason Bold. Sorry, I had a mind moment there. Yeah, so Matt and Jace were putting together the side project, and then they asked me if I would be interested in singing on it. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. And I was thinking just like a really cash, like, oh yeah, my buddies, for sure, you're doing a fun little band. And then Matt was like, oh, I'm going to book you a plane ticket so you can like fly to the studio like next week. Oh, wow. And like we're working on this. And I was like, oh, and then we were in the studio and he's like, M Shadows is going to like do a solo on it. And I was like, oh, this is like a real we were getting offers from festivals. Like it quickly became this like bigger idea. We were like already going to be on the cover of magazines kind of thing, yeah. Which for me, like Cancer Bats has always been like a slow ascend, and like I was like, yeah, we'll play a show, we'll do a thing,
and I really enjoyed that project. So I was hoping that to see more
cool.
in the future.
Yeah, and working with those guys was super fun. Like we had such a rad time, and like touring was great, making videos and like the artwork, like everything was really fun, and we were just like genuinely like just vibing, like yeah, metal, like let's just make it really hard, let's just do whatever we want. And then literally just life, like we both put out DSOL that same year too, and then Bullet was like going full on, and it's like we were touring like crazy, and we're like, where do we fit in this like side project now? And it's like then Bullet started working on another record, we got signed to BMG, we were like working on our like follow-up to DSOL, so it was like all that stuff just like kept kind of like putting time in between it, and we'd still see each other. Like,
did you see them recently? They just played in Halifax.
I was out of town. Yeah, they were like ripping in my new hometown, and yeah, I missed that show. Obviously it was when I was like
speaking of new hometown, I hear you moved from Toronto to Halifax. Yeah. That's a big move.
Yeah, I've been in Halifax for like 4 years now.
Yeah,
and
so that must be a little harder for a touring band, because all the big cities like Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec, you're like 12 hours.
Halifax is a big city.
Yeah, but you're like 12 hours from the nearest big city.
It's true.
So
but I mean, then the nature of how we tour, we're all just like kind of fly.
What made you want to move to Halifax? Which is great. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, well, coming out here all the time and like riding dirt bikes and meeting all these people, and obviously Cancer Bats had toured out here like a ton, so we were just like felt like really at home. I already had a lot of friends here, and I was like, man, you know what? Like, yeah, I'm just gonna move here.
Nice.
And yeah, haven't looked back. I'm definitely super stoked. Skateboarding all the time, meeting new people. Like, yeah, it's great.
Also, another side project you had was the Black Sabbath tribute band, Bat Sabbath, which was awesome. But I missed you guys because of work when you played here. So will you have any more shows in the near future?
We are planning more Bat Sabbath in the future. You heard it here first.
Very excited because I missed it and I was so pissed.
Well, I mean, we already announced it, but we are doing a Bat Sabbath show in England this summer at 2000 Trees Festival. Nice. That's like we're gonna, See, that's the thing. You can't like the like history of Bat Sabbath, you can't do it anywhere without doing it everywhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because we're suckers. Like when people are like, "Why aren't you gonna come here with?" And you're like, "Yeah."
I wanted to ask, you moved to Halifax, but the rest of the band, are they in Halifax as well?
No. So Mike Peters on drums, he moved to Winnipeg in 2014.
Okay.
So that's kind of what like this idea. Like he had been out in Winnipeg. Jay and I were living in Toronto. And then also since Scott left, like our other guitar players were living all over the place. We had Nick, who was up in Thunder Bay for a minute, Stevis, who was living in LA, Katie Lamond, who was like living in Halifax. So now Jackson is going to be playing with us, who plays in Diner Drugs.
Okay.
He lives in Moncton. So yeah, we kind of just folks from all over the place, people that we like, friends, people that we know we vibe with. So yeah, that's the whole long and short of it.
That's awesome. And as a professional musician, COVID must have been quite hard. Like, as you can't tour, it's hard to make a living. What'd you do with your time? Did you like spend time writing and recording, or?
Yeah, I mean, I was here, so we were in the Atlantic bubble. I also run this clothing company called Treadwell Clothing. So for me, I spent the pandemic like just kind of focusing on this and like fixing it up and literally just riding dirt bikes. I was like riding dirt bikes like 4 or 5 times a week. Like it was
like jumps and stunts and stuff.
I do jumps, but mostly go in the woods and go rip trails and like hang out. Yeah, so I did a lot of that. Like yeah, we wrote Psychic Jailbreak, but I'll be honest, I was really riding dirt bikes and skateboarding and like hanging out.
Living your best life.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, this rules.
And I really enjoyed Separation Session 1 and 2.
Oh, cool.
What?
Yeah, we did those too.
Yeah, those were great. What brought that on? And is there a chance of part 3?
Just out of kind of like entertaining people while they were stuck at home. We figured we would do something fun and kind of different. It was a little easier to kind of jam because we could like, everyone could do it, you know, in their houses. They didn't have to go someplace to make noise and like practice it. I think it was fun and like people enjoyed it, but I don't think like we didn't put that record out and everyone was like, oh my God. In the same way that I feel like when we do the Sabbath stuff, it was like, everyone was like, oh yeah, great, you did it, cool. So when's Cancer Bats gonna play? And we're like, cool, yeah.
And what are your plans for the rest of the year? Like the summer's just starting. Are you playing festivals? Are you recording? Are you making videos? Like what's in the works?
We have just tons of touring, which I'm really excited. I feel like it's been kind of like slow getting going. So we're going to Europe and the UK for like 5 weeks. Yeah, doing festivals, doing a ton of touring over there.
Any festival you can name?
Yeah, we're doing Download Fest. We're playing 2000 Trees.
That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, we're playing Grass Pop, which is really rad. We're playing Year on Air. Like, tons are really cool. Playing a super fun punk fest called Ubenus Festival in Switzerland. So, yeah, like big fest, small punk fest, like just having a blast. We're doing dates with Sick of It All. Like, yeah, it's going to be, I'm really, really excited for this summer.
And if anybody wants some of your merch, where can we go to get that?
Oh, treadwellclothing.com. Check it out.
Yes. All right, well, thanks for talking to me.
Oh,
really
no.
appreciate it.
Dude.
Love your music and love you, buddy.
Thanks.
So this is Metal Mouth Media with Cancer Bat.